proud of it. When you go to a classical concert, you look at the program, who's coming, who's playing, which symphony. First teacher was a blonde 18-year-old girl.
He made millions cry without uttering a word. Just one sweep of the bow across his violin could send waves of emotion through packed stadiums. But as the lights dim and the final note fades, what's left behind the curtain? This is the story not just of music, but of legacy, loneliness, and the cost of devotion. The man hailed as the king of the waltz, André Rieu, built a $40 million empire through elegance and precision. Yet behind every standing ovation lies a truth only a few have dared to explore. What happens when the melodies that captivated the world also carry the ache of a childhood searching for love? André Rieu didn't step into greatness. He carved his way through silence. A quiet boy wandering the cobblestone streets of Maastricht, violin in hand, living inside a dream shaped by shadows. Born on October 1st, 1949, one of 6 children in a household full of music, but void of warmth, André found discipline before he found joy. His father, a commanding symphony conductor, turned music into a drill. 1 hour of violin each day, no interruptions, no compassion. His mother's rules were colder still. No eye contact, no familiarity, no comfort. Love wasn't part of the equation. Music became André's only refuge, a companion that whispered hope into his lonely world. By age 5, his fingers danced across strings with astonishing skill, leading him from school orchestras to the Maastricht Conservatory. His days were consumed by scales, theory, and technical mastery. But the drive wasn't just ambition. It was survival. That quiet child, often lost in Tintin comics and castles of imagination, was forging his escape. At the Liège Conservatory and later in Brussels, he would push harder than anyone else, eventually earning the Premier Prix, a badge of excellence, but also proof that he was no longer invisible. Even then, André wasn't just chasing perfection. He was searching for connection. The cold, rigid performances of his youth left him longing for something more human, more joyful. He remembered the vibrant street festivals of his childhood, the laughter, the colors. He dreamed of making classical music feel alive, less intimidating, more intimate. A teacher once handed him a conducting book and said, "You're going to be great." It was a small moment, but in André's world, where encouragement was rare, it was everything. He wasn't just a student. He was a quiet entrepreneur. Renting out sheet music to classmates, he showed early signs of a mind that blended artistry with strategy. Still, for all his discipline, it was the emotion that drove him. The violin wasn't a tool, it was his voice. At night, beneath the soft Dutch sky, he would play with raw sincerity. Somewhere along those evenings, a global dream began to take shape, to bring music to every soul who, like him, once felt unheard. André's rise wasn't glamorous. He played at weddings drowned out by chatter, restaurants where nobody listened. At times, he joked about quitting music altogether to start a pizza shop, but the fire inside never dimmed. In 1987, he founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra, just 12 musicians and a radical idea: make classical music feel like a celebration. Critics scoffed, purists sneered, but André kept going. Then came a moment that would rewrite everything. In 1995, with nerves in check and vision intact, André bought 60 seconds of live television airtime during a high-stakes soccer match between Ajax and Bayern Munich. As fate would have it, Ajax scored just before halftime, and the broadcast cut to André performing Second Waltz. Viewers were spellbound. The next week, he sold over 200,000 albums. A single minute of music had shifted the axis of his career. From there, his name became legend. Best-selling records like The Second Waltz, The Waltz Goes On, My Way, and more recently, Shall We Dance, 2019, Jolly Holiday, 2020, and Silver Bells, 2023, solidified his place at the top. He wasn't just a performer, he was a global sensation. Packed arenas across Europe, the US, Australia, Asia, South Africa. Every show, a journey. Every performance, a memory etched into thousands of hearts. His concerts weren't grand for the sake of spectacle. They were crafted for connection. One evening, during a thunderstorm, the orchestra kept playing as rain poured down. The crowd didn't move. Another time, he invited an elderly couple to dance on stage. Once, he pulled a young child from the audience and knelt to play alongside them. These weren't staged acts. They were moments that revealed who André really was. A man who saw music as a shared heartbeat. By 2018, he had become the highest-grossing classical musician in history, with blockbuster tours reaching millions. Even during the pandemic, when venues went dark, André didn't disappear. He pivoted to online concerts and cinema screenings, drawing in new audiences who never thought they'd fall for a waltz. And they did. He never released his concert programs in advance. To him, mystery was part of the magic. People came not to hear specific pieces, but to feel something, to be moved. Works like Second Waltz, My Way, and Blue Danube weren't just tracks. They were soundtracks to personal moments in people's lives. And yet, for all the sold-out tours and glowing reviews, André remains deeply connected to his roots. He stands on stage today remembering the boy who longed for warmth, who never heard "I love you" from his parents. That absence didn't break him, it fueled him. Today, his orchestra is more than a team. It's a family built from decades of shared joy, grief, and relentless touring. For André Rieu, music was never about prestige. It was about healing, first for himself, and then for the world. When he sees people laugh, cry, or sing at his shows, he says that's the real reward. That's when the silence of his past is finally filled. André Rieu's journey through fame and fortune is far from a simple fairy tale. Behind every dazzling spotlight and roaring ovation lies a story woven with quiet hardships and unspoken battles. His story isn't just about triumph. It's a delicate balance of glory and struggle. When André stands before his orchestra, his eyes shining bright, he isn't just celebrating success. He's embodying a dream painstakingly forged from years of resilience. Yet, when the applause fades, a more vulnerable chapter unfolds, revealing the personal storms that accompany even the brightest stars. It's a reminder that greatness often carries a hidden cost. Few outside his inner circle know about the emotional barriers André faced growing up. Raised in a household where affection was scarce, his childhood was marked by strict rules and silence. His parents never expressed love openly. His mother forbade eye contact, believing it to be disrespectful, and emotions were kept tightly locked away. This cold environment left a lasting emptiness, a quiet ache André carried well into his adult years. Yet, rather than breaking him, these early wounds became the driving force behind his quest to find connection through music. Each note he played was a message sent out to bridge the gap left by his upbringing, a longing for warmth, for understanding, for love. The road to healing was not straightforward. André once revealed that he and his wife, Marguerite, spent 4 years in therapy together, confronting the deep-rooted pain of their pasts. Their sessions were not just about personal recovery. They were about rewriting the story of their lives. They learned how to listen, how to open their hearts, and how to break the chains of invisible trauma. In doing so, they built a home where love was spoken freely, something neither of them had ever known as children. These years weren't easy, but they forged an unbreakable bond. I grew up without love. So did Marguerite. But we refused to let that continue. André shared, a quiet strength behind his words. Today, saying "I love you" to their children is a daily ritual, a deliberate act of healing and hope. Marguerite's role went far beyond that of a partner. She became André's steadfast anchor during the most turbulent times. Through sleepless nights and critical decisions, she was there, a constant source of strength. Their partnership turned André's victories into shared triumphs, monuments to love and perseverance. When he reflects on their journey, tears often come, not of sorrow, but of profound gratitude. This is the love that carried him through every storm. But sometimes, the battles come from within. In 2010, during a hectic European tour, André was struck by a severe middle ear infection. For a musician who relies so deeply on precise hearing and balance, this wasn't just an illness. It was a threat to his entire career. The dizziness and pain were relentless, forcing him to cancel multiple concerts. The financial impact was staggering, with millions in lost revenue and an orchestra left in shock. The fear wasn't just about André's health. It was about the survival of a dream they had all nurtured together. The orchestra, the grandeur of his performances, the legacy he built, all seemed fragile in the face of this invisible enemy. For André's family, the crisis was a time of quiet panic. Marguerite's eyes betrayed her worry, and their children watched closely as their father fought to regain his strength. The fear wasn't only about losing the man they loved, but about the potential collapse of everything their family had created. Yet, from that dark place, André found a new kind of strength. His recovery was nothing short of miraculous. It was a moment of rebirth, a testament to love, faith, and the enduring power of music. Returning to the stage after his hospitalization was a scene charged with raw emotion. As the audience erupted in applause, André stood silently, lifted his violin, and let the first trembling notes flow. The music was more than a performance. It was a soulful prayer, a quiet thank you to life itself and to the journey through pain and renewal. Every ear in the crowd was fixed on him, not as a star, but as a man reborn. That night, music and life merged in a moment that would stay forever etched in the hearts of all who witnessed it. Yet, the trials didn't end there. In 2008, André made a bold and costly decision. He invested over $30 million in creating a magnificent replica of the Schönbrunn Palace, a fairy tale stage that dazzled audiences with golden accents, horse-drawn carriages, and sparkling lights. The dream was breathtaking, but it came with steep financial risks. When the costs spiraled, André faced a harsh reality. He had to meet with banks, sell off cherished assets, from antique cars to pieces of real estate, just to keep the dream alive. The pressure was immense, and the fallout shook his closest circle. Some collaborators left, afraid of the risk, and the media whispered that the Waltz King's best days might be behind him. During this period, André withdrew into silence, not from exhaustion, but to confront the pain beneath the surface. He allowed himself space to listen to the quiet wounds that words couldn't reach. From this crucible, however, something extraordinary emerged. André's music deepened, enriched by his struggles, filled with empathy and raw emotion that resonated with audiences anew. The crisis became a catalyst, pushing him to new artistic heights. Then came the global pandemic, a blow that shuttered stages worldwide. Tours were canceled, income vanished, and the very existence of his orchestra was at risk. André faced the possibility of losing the family he had built in music. In a moment that revealed his heart, he declared he would sell his treasured Stradivarius if it meant keeping his ensemble alive. "They are my family," he said simply, a powerful testament to his devotion. This wasn't just about preserving music. It was about protecting the community that had sustained him. But the deepest ache came from a more personal place. Marguerite, his wife, and unwavering partner, now battles a chronic illness that slowly saps her strength. This invisible challenge turns every moment they share into something precious and fragile. André has confided how, in quiet solitude, he has sometimes wept watching her fall asleep, drained by pain. The fear of losing her, the woman who stood by him through decades of highs and lows, casts a shadow over his heart. This pain isn't the turmoil of the stage or financial worry. It's the quiet fracture at the core of a man who poured all his love into building a home, a family, a life. André Rieu's life is a symphony composed of both joy and sorrow. His smile on stage shines brightly. His bow dances across strings as if only music and love exist. But behind the curtain, tired eyes reflect the scars left by countless storms. For André, music isn't merely a career or a public triumph. It is the balm for a spirit shaped by hardship and hope. Every note he plays is a thread in the tapestry of a life that, though marked by trials, remains devoted to healing and connection. André Rieu's journey is a living testament to the power of resilience wrapped in the delicate bow of a violin. Behind every breathtaking performance and every standing ovation lies a man who has weathered storms most could hardly imagine. Sitting quietly within the aged stone walls of his Maastricht castle, André often cradles his beloved Stradivarius, coaxing out melodies that carry the weight of a childhood marked by strict discipline and distant love. Each note is a whisper of memories: a stern father playing in noisy restaurants, a mother who forbade eye contact, and the warm tear of the first audience member moved by his music. It's a bittersweet soundtrack, reminding us that behind the glamour of millions in ticket sales and prestigious awards is a man who was once deeply broken, but always determined to rise again. Could it be that the very legacy André has fought so fiercely to build might one day become the cause of division rather than unity in his family? This question lingers as much as the haunting beauty of his waltzes. André Rieu's story, filled with both triumph and heartache, still has chapters waiting to be written. And as his audience, we find ourselves holding our breath, ready to listen with open hearts. Not just a virtuoso violinist, André stands as a beacon of compassion and unwavering dedication. Over his illustrious career, André has amassed more than 500 platinum records and 270 gold awards, with accolades including the World Music Awards, Classic Brits, and the prestigious Goldene Stimgarbel. His contributions to the arts were even honored with a knighthood from the Dutch monarchy, cementing his legacy not just as a performer, but as a cultural icon. Yet, beyond the trophies, André's heart has always been with the community. In 2019 alone, he donated over 425,000 euros to the Lindbergh Youth Cultural Fund, ensuring that music education reaches children who otherwise might never have the chance. He frequently organizes free concerts in Maastricht, giving back to the town that shaped him and supporting numerous charitable endeavors. These acts of generosity reveal a man who sees his success not as an end, but as a means to uplift others. Today, at 75, André continues to pour his heart into music and family. Though his hair has silvered, his spirit remains youthful and vibrant, carrying him from stage to stage with an energy that seems almost boundless. When the curtain falls, however, it's the simple joys at home that call him most. A modest house near his castle where Marguerite waits, surrounded by their children and grandchildren. In those quiet moments, André is not a global superstar, but a loving grandfather, gently playing melodies that cradle memories of love and loss. He once said quietly, "Careers may shift with time, but the love of family is the treasure I'll always hold most dear." His family's life unfolds not in the limelight, but in the gentle warmth of everyday love. Marjorie remains the anchor, the calm harbor no matter how dazzling the spotlight. Their children grew up enveloped in kindness and music, taught that love isn't shouted but expressed through small, sincere gestures. To them, André is not an untouchable legend, but a father whose heart speaks volumes through every embrace, glance, and quiet song. To his grandchildren, he is a storyteller, weaving tales through the strings of his violin, each morning's melody drifting softly through the time-worn window frames. Even after decades of success and sorrow, the family has chosen to stay bound by gratitude, understanding, and a happiness found in simply being together. The greatest legacy André can leave, perhaps, isn't the castle or his fame, but the constant presence of love expressed through music, filtering through those wooden windows like a soft morning light. For anyone who has ever been still in awe listening to his violin echo across Mastery Square, it's clear why he's known as the heart of classical music. Fans say he doesn't just bring notes, but memories. A longtime orchestra member shared that André never asks if they hit the right notes, but always, "Did you play with all your heart today?" These moments aren't recorded on plaques, but live forever in the souls touched by his music. His art has bridged generations, melding past and present, solitude and shared joy. André Rieu is not just a musician, but a living embodiment of feeling, proof that classical music needs no translation, only listeners with open hearts. In reflecting on André's remarkable life, it's impossible not to consider the financial and luxurious lifestyle that has accompanied his extraordinary career. Over the years, André has owned some of the world's finest luxury cars, including a classic Bentley Continental and a sleek Rolls-Royce Phantom that mirror his refined tastes. His wrist often gleams with timeless watches from Patek Philippe and Audemar's Piguet, signaling a blend of elegance and understated power. Real estate holdings include not only his iconic castle in Maastricht, but also elegant homes across Europe, each a sanctuary reflecting his love for history and comfort. His private jet, a Gulfstream G650, has carried him effortlessly between continents for tours and charitable events, underscoring the global scale of his influence. Beyond the stage, André's entrepreneurial ventures include a stake in a leading classical music streaming platform and a partnership in a prestigious European vineyard, showcasing a savvy eye for diverse investments. He has also maintained comprehensive insurance policies throughout his life, covering health, assets, and career-related protections, a wise foresight that has safeguarded his legacy through unpredictable times. André's journey offers valuable financial lessons. Success requires balancing passion with prudence, investing wisely in both art and assets, and never letting fame eclipse core values. His spending reflects not extravagance, but meaningful choices that protect and nurture his family and artistic community. This mindful approach has ensured that his wealth supports not just luxury, but longevity, a blueprint for sustainable prosperity. Looking back on André Rieu's path, from a reserved child in a strict home to a beloved global icon, it's clear his story is not just about music, but about the human spirit's power